Today, I go to confront Ryan Serhant. He's the dude from $1 Million Listing, New York. I thought about delivering him flowers, but then thought I would handle this one face to face. After all, we both have YouTube channels. I have a course for real estate investors. He has a course for real estate agents. I also have a course for real estate agents to teach you how to be a no-pressure agent and teach you that psychology. But let's figure out where we differ.
My thing is I'm all about helping people start.
Sure.
And so when people look at you, they're seeing, okay, so you're selling multi-millions worth of real estate every year. How could you help somebody maybe every day? Perfect. Help somebody who's starting out, or what recommendations would you give to them if they were just starting out?
For investing or for brokering?
Both.
We can ask Sara too and see kind of where she started. For me, you know, starting off as a real estate investor takes a lot of risk and takes capital.
Now, heads up, what Ryan is about to say, in my opinion, is true if you want to be a full-time investor. But if you're just looking to invest in real estate, I always recommend start with that wedge deal and start small.
And if you don't know what you're doing, and if you've never been a part of the process before, the fall can be incredibly hard.
Sure.
So I'm pretty fiscally conservative and professionally conservative.
Mm-hmm.
As crazy as people may think I am with regards to marketing, my business, the areas I go into,
sure,
the risk for me here really is like, okay, so I don't sell something. I was going to spend money on marketing anyway. I want listings anyway. Like if it doesn't sell, it's not like I lose my house.
Interesting.
Okay?
So there's like this benefit to being an agent because your risk is limited.
To start. So,
yeah.
You know, some of the biggest developers in the city, some of the biggest, property investors and flippers are people who, at least at the beginning, started doing their own brokering, or were like rental agents, and just learning the process and seeing what other people were going through. So like someone young on my team would learn from Sara as a broker and say, okay, you bought this for what? And then you put $400,000 into it. So you're looking to make a $500,000 profit. Okay, this is how the math works. This is how the city works. Like, what do you do when the city says you can't use that fence there anymore? And they back you up 6 months. How do you cover those carrying costs? How do you cover the taxes? How do you cover the workers that you still need on site here who then want to go elsewhere because the plumber won't come back until this is signed off on? Like, all that stuff that no one thinks about because all they think about is the money is stuff that you need to see from a conservative viewpoint, which I think is on the broker side point first, and then get into the investing, because then you'll see the best deals. Like all the properties that I bought, and we can go inside.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, it's getting cool. He's like bouncing, and shaking. Come on in.
Starting on the broker side might give you that exposure to what people are doing.
Yeah, so you get exposure to what people are doing, and Sara can say that as well.
Now for this part, keep in mind, Ryan says he uses a stockbroker to help him invest, but also says that agents themselves get the best deals. I disagree with that. I think clients that surround themselves with professional agents, the way I teach in the real estate investing course linked below, end up surrounding themselves with multiple bird dog agents that can get them great deals.
You see the best deals, right? So you see I don't know what the best trades are in the equity markets. Like I don't have a Bloomberg terminal. I don't work at Morgan Stanley. So that's why I work with, even though I could invest my own money, I don't, because I work with an insider.
You give it to a professional.
Yeah, who knows what they're doing, and that's all they do all day long.
Yeah.
So same thing on the brokerage side. You'll see the worst and the best deals every day. And just like with myself, and just like with Sara and her husband Josh, the good ones kind of say, well, I'll just jump on that on my own. Like, I completely get it. I know the numbers are, and I'm okay with the risk.
The great agents who've seen this and have helped other clients do it, they jump on, well, I may as well do that deal.
Yeah.
Now, a question I have for you is, so many buyers today, they look at fixer-uppers or they look at remodeled properties, and they look and say, oh, well, I could just go to open houses. I'm brand new to real estate investing. I'll figure it out myself, or I'll call, a discount agent or something just to write up the paperwork.
Sure.
Wow, what's your response to people trying to cut out the professional?
Look at any time anyone's tried to cut out a professional, it hardly ever works unless you're reinventing, the whole business model, right? Unless you're like, I don't know, Elon Musk, and you're going to create electric cars.
And you reinvent everything anyway.
Yeah, I think every developer and every investor tries to do something better than the next guy.
Sure.
But the goal that we're talking about here is how to create income, how to make money, and how to also create passive wealth. Because let's say that they didn't want to then sell this house, or the market disappears. Like, you then have a beautiful product that you can rent, and you want to make sure that that's always your plan B. So you want to go through those numbers. So whether you're getting into brokerage at the beginning or getting into real estate development, my biggest advice is always to work for someone else for like 2 years. Treat that as law school, right? That's your grad school. Okay, like when you go to grad school, you spend a lot of money and make no money. This way, you'll actually make a little bit of money.
That's an interesting perspective.
You won't make a lot of money, but at least
Sure.
you won't make mistakes. That way, like you're not graduating from high school or from college and then saying, you know what, I'm a lawyer now or I'm a doctor. Like,
Right.
no one does that, and there's a reason why they go to
It's your
school
residency.
so they can learn.
Yeah.
It's their residency. So I would say do the same thing. And so, like, for us, it's, the Serhant team university. It's those first couple years that are just really brutal and tough, and not everyone makes it. For development, you might want to work underneath somebody else who's doing the same thing that you like. And then 2, you might also realize at that point, a year into it, like,
I don't
I
like
really like flipping houses. This is actually terrible. I really like doing this. And then you'll go over there. And, at least you'll learn something without having, like, gone bankrupt.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you were to start over, I mean, looking at something, there's a basement down here too, it looks like.
And Sara can talk about this house because it's hers. So
Oh, I
what's interesting, I
Yeah.
think, is like with Josh and Sara, right?
Yes.
Like they had their brokerage.
Yes.
And they're brokers,
Yeah.
right? They do deals all day long. They run a team of agents who do deals all day long.
Sure.
But they see the best deals. They understand the market so clearly to their core that they also do their own deals,
Right.
right? And the income that you can make on selling this house compared to what you can make brokering the house,
Yeah.
when you do it right, is a lot more.
Dramatically different.
Sara, I mean, you can tell us what you saw about this house when you bought it and what the potential is here, right? Coming at it, I guess, from a broker standpoint, but also a developer mindset.
So when I walk into a house, we do see the potential of it. I mean, this was just an 18 wide frame house. We completely gut it.
It was a
You-
two-family, though,
And
wasn't it?
it's a 2-family, so we basically redo the entire layout. It's stripped down to bare walls and rebuilt from scratch,
Start
from the
over.
basement up.
So this was a 2-family.
It's still an existing 2-family. What we're doing, I mean, initially you would have had your kitchen downstairs leading
Yeah.
out to the backyard. Now, because this floor has higher ceiling height, you walk in, you want this to be your living room leading to your
Yes.
kitchen, to a deck in the back, and you get all this light coming in. I mean, somebody would want to live in a space like this and have this the main
So you had
living
that
area.
vision to
The
repurpose
vision,
this.
you have to have the vision. We have an architect that helps us to design, and we have a construction manager who oversees the entire project. I see this almost when it's finished and when we're ready to launch and bring it to market. And then I'll do all the pretty stuff, staging.
Oh, you'll stage it too.
Well, we have a company that stages, and
You'll work with them.
Exactly.
Okay.
We'll do a
And
next
so,
week's launch.
if somebody was wanting to do this not full time, let's say you had mentioned if somebody wanted to start full time, they could
Yeah.
join a team, they can learn from the mistakes that other people have made. But what if somebody just wanted to invest money in real estate? Should they do that by buying something like this to live in? Should they, just give their money to a real estate fund or you guys to go buy them deals?
We can find a deal. We can customize the house for them. They can live in it. They can rent it out. We can help with the entire process.
You can pretty much do
pretty
anything.
much do the
Okay.
entire-
Realize here, the agents can help you do everything from top to bottom.
Bailing. That's
So I
amazing.
think going back to your last question,
Yeah.
listen, funds are fee based, right?
Right.
So if the fund does really well, it can offset. But you're paying into something that immediately has fees. What's great about brokerage and about selling property is that there are only fees involved when it's a success.
Right.
You don't pay a brokerage fee if it doesn't sell. Now, if it doesn't sell, that's also not good. But it's
You go to plan B, you rent
exactly.
it,
There's other options. So
and you have a management team in-house
Yeah.
for property management. That's great.
yeah. I mean, we don't do a significant amount of it, but
Sure.
for things like this and for individual properties, we can handle everything. But I think if someone's looking to start investing in real estate, you can either find something that's a simple, just rental income producing property,
Sure.
find an apartment that's small, or a house that's small, and be able to put tenants in place. Just make sure that you're buying under your means. A lot of people see under their means, like, oh, this sucks, and then they want to buy the place with the pool and the 2-car garage. And it's just hard. And
I
then if
find
that
they never
market
buy.
turns down, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Or they never buy.
No, they just never do.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
And so
Do you struggle with that with buyers here as well? Because I'm
don't
sure
buy.
Yeah, well, I mean, that you get in every price range, right?
For
But
sure.
people that come to you and might say, look, I'm a first-time home buyer, help me out. Like, where do you start? How do you overcome their challenges, especially where the median home price is, what, $9.99 in New York now?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I do with every buyer is I sit them down in my office or in their office. I never like to meet people on the street or in a house or in an appointment. I treat it very much, the business, kind of like an investment bank.
Sure.
right? Just like you would with
Interview.
a money manager.
Yeah.
You sit down and you talk to them about this expectations. That way they know that I'm in control and I'm driving the ship here, not them. And this isn't just
How do you
35
balance
hours.
that? Because some people worry that, people have this impression that agents might be in high pressure and just want to close a deal. How do you balance providing that education while also saying, hey, I'm driving the boat?
It's just about how you create that relationship. It's like anything, right?
Sure.
It's like a date, going on your first date. Like, how do you balance?
You drive the boat on the first day?
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is how this is going to work.
This is how we're dating, okay?
Yeah, so you don't do it that way. But it just comes down to the conversation, the questions you ask, it's getting to know them. And really, honestly, it's so that you don't waste future time. Because so many people say, real estate, I want to invest in real estate, I want to do this, I'll call Ryan, I'll call Sara, I'll do this. And then you realize they have no money, or everything's with their parents and it's all locked up, or they have terrible credit, or they don't know what they're doing, or they're planning on renting it out, but they've never done that before, and they're eventually going to move to California. Like, everyone has so many issues they've never even thought about. So you ask them all those questions, and you explain to them that investing in real estate is a process of elimination. Nothing else. It's not shopping. It's a process of elimination.
It sounds like you've done this before.
Yeah, a few times.
That's awesome. Okay, so now I've got another question for you. You've got, competitors, at least more in LA. We see a lot of the Redfins, Purple Bricks, the discount services. Here, I don't know Compass that well, but you've got Compass. I don't know if what they're
Not
doing.
a discount brokerage. They're just a real estate brokerage.
Just another brokerage. Okay, so how do you deal with that competition, and what is Nest Seekers?
I mean, we so far haven't had much of the discount brokerage competition because the brokerage industry here is so intense and so cutthroat that, like, honestly, the brokerage business is relatively so large that, like, if anyone were to list with one of those discount brokerages, all the good brokers who have all the real clients who have actual money, who aren't scammers or con artists in New York City,
Right.
aren't going to go there.
Oh, wow, really?
I would be too nervous to bring my buyer to somebody who listed with Redfin, because all it says to me is this person is cheap. They're trying to skimp out on paying brokerage fees, which means that there probably is something wrong with that house. Right?
They're cutting corners elsewhere on the
If
property.
they're cutting corners on the brokerage fees because they don't want to pay a professional, then it means there probably is no insulation in that house, or their bathtubs were used for murder.
This is fascinating. Remember, if a seller is signaling they're a discounter or they're trying to do something on the cheap, like sell a property, what does it actually signal for the property's condition itself?
So, like, that's... Now, in other areas
Sure.
where you have very, very low inventory, then maybe you can get away with it. But in New York anyway, like, the brokers are the ones, and I'm biased obviously, but I see it every day, the brokers are the ones who get the deals done. Like,
Right.
we're the ones who at 11 p.m. are running up to an apartment to take photos of all the light fixtures, because literally the deal will die if I don't get those photos in by end of the day, midnight, because that's what the buyer said to the attorney, and they really, really mean it. Like, no Redfin or Purple Bricks broker is going to do that for $4.
Sure.
So, like, New York is what it is because it is an incentivized city. And when you incentivize people, you create a get up and go atmosphere. And that's what the United States at the end of the day is all about, right?
Sure.
That's why
Get up and go, make it happen.
Exactly, right? You can stay and you can deal with the church, or you can get the fuck up and go.
That's amazing. So, a question for you. I mean, this comes up. I'm sure you get this question. How would you have started differently if it wasn't for $1 Million Listing?
I mean, I did start before that, and I was just renting apartments in Koreatown, posting ads on Craigslist, and taking buyers to
You
Long
started in
Island City.
Koreatown.
Because I lived there,
How do you acclimate? Like, how did you go into Koreatown and, like, I'm going to sell here?
Koreatown is one block, so it's
Okay.
not that big in New York.
I don't know anything about
no
New York.
problem.
Okay.
Koreatown is it's like 30th and 31st Street.
It sounds like a town.
No.
Okay. So it's
That's
one street.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where you live.
It's just one street, and that was where the cheapest apartments were at the time.
So that's where you decided to
That was
go.
at 38 West 31st Street, and yeah, I lived in a tiny, tiny little apartment.
You sorted Craigslist by cheapest and rented there.
Yeah, basically. So I wanted my own apartment for like $1,000 a month, and that's what I could afford.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be by every single train because I knew in real estate I had to be up and down the city all day long.
Well, you knew you were going to do real estate at that point.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And before that, when I wasn't doing real estate, I lived on the Upper East Side. But then it's too hard to get to the 6th train and get up and get down all
Sure.
the time. But $1 Million Listing was a total fluke that happened in 2010, 2 years later. That was just
2
all
years
for the
into
casting
you
call.
doing rentals.
Yeah, rentals and some sales in the financial district in Long Island City, where I could find buyers on Craigslist and in Starbucks.
Wow.
Like, that's literally, I didn't know anyone here. I think like most people, unless you're from here, and then you're lucky. Like, most people come to New York City, they don't know anyone, they build up their client base from the ground up.
Now, if somebody were going to do that, exactly what you said, minus the $1 Million Listing, how likely would it be for them to ever land something like a $15 million Upper West Side listing?
You don't do it in the first year, but it is likely. like, listen, I get pushback all the time because people think, oh, you're just on TV, or oh, you're just too busy, or oh, it's just going to be your team. So someone that doesn't have the television shows won't have to deal with any of that, right? You just slowly work your way up. I think the biggest issue people have is they say, all right, I got my license. Where's my $10 million listing?
Right.
I don't get it. I quit.
It's the impatience almost.
Which is why I think like 85% of new agents quit in the first year in this business.
100%.
Yeah.
The fall through rate is horrible.
Yes. But if you can stick through with it and you slowly just build on your referral base and on your success rate, you start with $2,000 a month apartments in New York City anyway. That's where I started.
Yeah.
You don't need a resume for that.
So you were selling twice as expensive as what you were renting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you look, that's how you get up the ladder, right? You
But
start
from there, then they would know someone that could afford $2,500, and then that person would know someone that could afford $3,200. Then that person could, knew someone that could afford $5,000.
Sure.
And then from there, I met somebody who needed to sell their apartment for like $300,000. And then slowly, because success begets success.
Right.
But it wasn't just $2,000 a month apartment.
Wasn't overnight.
$10 million. Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
I've been doing this now just 10 years, so it's it takes a little while.
Do you ever see investing in real estate, doing projects like this, replacing your income from running a team in sales?
I don't know. A lot of people do that. Like, there's a lot of brokers who just then end up doing just property,
just investing.
Like this. Yeah. When you get to a certain point, but I don't know. I like the deals. I like the deals. I
The
like
transactions, the
team,
new buyers.
Team. Yeah, I like the process, the marketing. That's what I think I'm best at. I don't think I'm best at like doing stuff like this.
The renovation, so you have a renovation team and you let them handle it then?
I mean, I don't, but if
Okay.
I did, I would definitely let them handle it.
Okay. So you don't do these? Personally.
We have one townhouse that we're doing in Borum Hill right now. That will be great, but no, not really.
Okay, so here's the better question. Where are you putting the money?
It's in my sock drawer.
That's what I figured. It's all gold coins.
Yeah.
You're a Bitcoiner, aren't you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No way.
So are you throwing it back into real estate? Like
Yeah, here and there.
Okay.
We'll buy into new development condominium projects that we do.
First phase
So
new
we'll
construction,
take like 1 or
that.
2 bedrooms there, yeah.
Okay,
So we get
okay.
an apartment and then just hold, right? The whole idea with New York anyway, and kind of with anywhere, is you buy and hold.
Sure.
Just buy and hold, buy and
Yeah.
hold, buy and hold.
Of course.
And the problem is, and I'm like a victim to myself on this too, everything is always the most expensive it has ever been. Always. Like, even if you're buying stuff and you'll see this, you're like, no way will I make money on this. But you have to remember that every day, everything is always the most expensive it's ever been. And if it's not, then that's awesome. Maybe you should buy. But like in 10 years from now, everything will be more expensive. And on that day, it'll be more expensive than it's ever been. So like, that's just the way the world works. You can't freak out, because we deal with buyers all the time who are like, no, I can't buy. I'll never make money.
It's at the peak. It's going to crash.
Exactly. And you just have to remember, like in New York, what we tell people all the time is like, you literally pull up a map and you'll show New York what it was like at the beginning. And like New York was a farm. Like this was all a farm. So
That's part of that first meeting with Ryan.
Everything can be okay.
Okay.
Now we chat about the changing marketplace in New York City and the economy.
Because you have a lot of sellers saying, you know what, if I was on the fence before, now I'm just going to move to Florida. Like, what's the point? Why would I pay that?
They're not
tax twice?
rebuying here.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Interesting.
they're just deciding to sell. I think definitely for the high end, one of the issues we've had in the last 2 years is that the foreign buyer has become far more scarce than they've ever been before. And the foreign buyer is, to us, what day traders, and hedge funds are to equity markets, because they provide the liquidity. Like foreign buyers can come in and they can soak up that inventory and take it away from the domestic buyers, who will then say, oh shoot, everything's selling so fast. Yeah. When those people disappear, then the domestic buyer comes in and says, that apartment's still available for sale? I'm going to wait. There's something wrong here.
Something's wrong. Let's wait. Let's wait for the market to correct again.
But you have sanctions across the board. You have
Tell me about
controls in China. You've got
you mean between
Russia saying everyone bring your money back to this country or else. Like you've got a really, really strong dollar in the United States right now too, which plays a big role into just a clear currency exchange. So that's it. Everything's been an issue, but it'll all be okay.
So, let me ask you this. What, you've got people saying the market's going to get destroyed, currencies like the dollar are going to become worthless. I'm sure you deal with people like that who are hedging with gold, and
gold and real estate.
Yeah, and real estate. So people, you think here, or at least maybe you're seeing, people are putting their funds here too into real estate as an asset to protect from that potential?
Listen. And then this you have this would be like the master suite. Okay, so it would be the big master bedroom with double closets here.
And you guys staged it.
Yeah, safe.
yes, we're the Hardy backer.
Yeah, cold spring water bottle.
That's excellent.
We're gonna put a skylight in the master here in the bathroom, which would be nice.
What do you mean? It's right there.
Yeah, so you get some natural light that comes
Yeah.
through. I will say though, I guess we can put it up here.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the market changes every day, right? And so it's up to us as the salespeople to just make sure that we are flexible and that we ebb and flow. So, you know, in 2010, right, in 2011, we were in the middle of the Great Recession.
Right.
No one
That's when you were starting.
I started in 2008, yeah.
That's
and
right.
in 2008. So no one was doing anything. Everyone was stalled. And then a Russian guy shows up, okay, drops $88 million on an apartment on Central Park West in 2011.
Yeah.
All of New York says, wait. Aren't we in the Great Recession? Is this a recession? What's that? Screw that guy. And immediately the market came back in like 5 days.
After that purchase,
The market came back.
news
immediately.
broke and people
The
realized.
next week, because everyone said, shit, fear of missing out. So all the markets came back right away. And then everything gets soaked up. Everyone spends their money. And then the stock market starts to come back. Right? So then the stock market starts to come back. People feel good about that. They start putting their money in the stock market. Housing starts to slow down again because people aren't so frantic. And then, because the stock market's going too strong, like it has been over the last couple of years, you then start to have a FOMO for the stock market because it's easier than real estate.
Oh, sure.
So then people say, why am I going to take money out of the market and put it into real estate if I actually just don't have to touch it? And then what happens in fourth quarter of last year,
Yes.
stock market then has a heart attack. So then all of a sudden everything stops again, which is what happens. People freak out, they go under the covers, they sit in bed, and they say, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm so afraid, I'm so afraid. And then exactly what we thought was going to happen happened at the beginning of this January 2019. Everyone said, you know what, stock market's a little too volatile. We should put our money back in real estate. And it's been busier than ever before. Just because people are like just such stupid cows and they just follow each other and they just don't pay attention to anything. They don't take their own advice. It drives me crazy, but it is what it is.
So you're seeing sort of a Q1 resurgence. And we'll get away from this
Yeah.
air compressor
No
over
problem.
here a little bit. So you're seeing a resurgence Q1.
Yeah.
You've got, floorboards that are going away. No. Tell me about this. So,
So it's 3-bedroom.
and what is it? This is how you build in here, studs in between the bricks? I mean, I was
No,
just talking
not
about the
every
market, and
house.
now
Not
I
every
see
house.
this.
Not every house.
I've never seen this
This is also,
before.
remember, this is a renovation, so this is how this house was originally built.
But that's what's making me so curious is that
Yeah.
this wasn't all brick. There's actually lumber in here.
Some, yeah, in some houses, not in every house. Again, I don't know the history of this house or the background, but then that's something that you leave, right? We would leave that there because this is an old.
Well, you'll just,
no.
you won't drywall over this.
I think they're actually going to leave this open because it's kind of cool.
It is.
But in other houses, you'll see that it's just brick, and so we'll leave the exposed brick,
Right.
or we'll drywall over it. So in our renovations that we do in Brooklyn, we try to leave some character to it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like
Sure.
the Village or something. And we have to make it super sexy, cool, all glass.
Well, you see the water towers still even in the Upper West Side.
Yeah, people love them, even if they don't work. Yeah, well, most of them are landmarked, so you can't take
I
them
see.
down.
Okay,
Right?
so
It's
they're
just part of the
protected.
New York
That's your
kind of
skyline.
skyscape. Yeah, and then
Got
snow
it.
sits on them for the one time every 3 years it actually snows in this city, and
Well, so now let's say if you were, and we've touched on, joining the team, getting the experience, not making mistakes, but let's say you were starting today and you were, I don't know, maybe you were 16, 18 today, and you were thinking, real estate seems like a good avenue. Would you be, getting into wholesaling? You didn't necessarily want to be an agent, but you're like, I want to invest. Like, how do you respond to those kind of investment strategies?
honestly, you have to start in the mailroom. Like, if you can jumpstart that, if you can skip it, good for you. But it's always hard for me to give people advice to skip training and skip school. So that's why I say, like, if you want to get into the business of real estate, no matter what it is, right, you're either going to work for somebody else or become a real estate agent. It costs you a couple $100. Click around, it's important. And anything that you want to develop and sell, if you want to flip, you want to be a developer, you are only going to make money if it sells. And the person who sells it is going to be a real estate agent. So you need to know how that works. You need to understand how sales works, what the sales psychology is, how markets trend before you ever pick up a hammer or have someone else pick up a hammer, right? That's like the most important thing. Put yourself through real estate or sales grad school before you ever run any risk of capital. Like, it's, and everyone watching this is going to ignore that advice. They're all going to go get burned and go get jobs as accountants, and then they're eventually just going to die.
One of the biggest things I talk about in the real estate investing course, linked below, is the psychology of working with vendors and your circles. I bring that up here with Ryan.
And then they don't hold any real estate because they got burned one time and don't want to get in and don't want to learn the right way.
Which is everybody.
Well, what's so interesting, and I guess that's why it leaves opportunities like renovations like this or whatever for the people who have the knowledge. You mentioned a very interesting word that people, I don't think, value almost at all in real estate, yet it is almost completely what it's all about, psychology.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more.
Just the psychology of the deal, like how you buy this right.
Right.
How you renovate this right and work with the general contractors to make sure they're happy, to work with the subs to make sure the city's happy, and then how you sell it right, which broker you work with, how you're going to price it, right? The psychology of the deal is probably the number one P to keep in mind. You've got pressure, you've got persistence, you have pricing, but then you have psychology, the P silent. And it's something that you have to always focus on. Otherwise, people are too numbers driven, and then they burn themselves. Otherwise, they're too, they're too emotionally driven, and then they burn themselves. Right? If you understand the psychology, you can anticipate it. I wrote a whole section about it in my book. Then you will be more successful every time.
And that's something that's so neat too. Is so many people, they sit and they analyze their spreadsheets in an office or at a computer because that's what they learned how to do maybe in college or something like that.
Sure.
And then are we in your, is that a fine multi-master? Fine multi-master? It is a fine, German, very good.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
He's
so
waiting
many
on
people,
us. We can go.
yeah, we'll get out of this room.
All right.
So, great for this. That's perfect. So many people forget that what you said, keeping the contractor happy, is so important. They do their spreadsheets. They think, I'm just going to grind, and they forget about the relationship aspect. Could you talk to that a little bit before hitting that nail there? Right next to the Sawzall, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry.
How have you not hurt yourself here yet?
Okay. I mean, if you're someone who's buying a house to renovate it, to flip it, you're a manager more than anything. You're not a real estate developer, okay? Real estate developers are, for the most part, that's the contractor, right? That person is actually doing the work. So if you want to be a general contractor, that's a totally different video, totally
Yes.
different conversation.
Would you ever do that?
No. I did. I worked as a laborer for many years. So as a contractor.
You framing, or what'd you do?
We did framing, we did demo, we did kitchens and baths mostly. So I did that for 4 years, and it was awful. And that really it pushed me every day to not want to lug 80-pound bags of shingles on my shoulders up ladders anymore. Right? But it was important for me to do that. Like, I learned how this stuff works.
Sure.
And same thing on the sales side. Like, I know how this house gets sold. I know the pitfalls. I know the upsides. But when you're doing a deal like this, in any way, shape, or form, you have to remember you are a manager. You're managing people. Okay. You're not managing real estate. Like, that's so far from away what you're managing. You're managing the people who are going to work on the real estate. So you're managing the contractors, you're managing the subs, you're managing the city organizations, you're managing the police in the area, you're managing the neighbors, which is a huge part, making sure the neighbors are happy because the neighbors can shut you down for months if they want to with one phone call, right? You're managing the brokers, you're managing your wife, husband, you're managing the bank, you're managing all these people. So what you really are is you're a people manager. And like, if you understand the psychology of people so that you can manage those people to do what you need them to do on time for under cost, then you will be profitable. Right?
Yeah, how do you balance $1 million listing, having another broker who's developing this merge with your office and a team to train? You're putting people through Serhant University, so to speak, and then you have a wife and family. Then you're on social, you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube now. Well, how do you balance this?
Listen, I have a good team. I have a big team. I have a lot of agents. I have a big admin support staff. I have a lot of brokers that run around all day long, and I leverage, right? My whole business is leverage. That's all it is. How can I be in as many different places at a time so that all I focus on every single day is what I can do? So like, I can be here with you, nobody else, right? But none of my business has just come to a stop because I'm with you the way other people would if they were just one-man shops, if they were just by themselves. So I started with myself and one intern, Yolanda, in 2009, and she's been with me since for 10 years. So that's, it started with us, and then we went one person by one person by one person, and now we're like 65 people or something.
65 people on your team, and that circles right back to the psychology of managing people, which you've learned through hiring one person at a time and doing it.
And I also learned that it's not about making everybody happy, it's about making me happy. Making sure that my team runs the way I want it to run, and it's not going to work for everybody.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah. If somebody wanted to apply for a job, how would they do that with you?
email, ryanserhant.com, DM, I don't know.
There you go.
People find me in the weirdest ways. Buy the book, read the book. If anyone wants to come on that team, they have to read the book because that is my whole life.
Now let's talk about the pros and cons of selling in New York City.
Kevin,
Real life,
yeah.
it rains and it's cold, and in the summer it's hot and sticky and muggy.
Would you ever move?
You know what, man? No. That's it, because all my business is here.
Right.
But the weather, you don't move to New York because you love the weather.
If it weren't for your businesses, where would you live?
I live with you. Why do you think people live there? It's awesome. Every time I go there, it's like the greatest weather ever, except this one time, and it was like this insane rainstorm, and it just like everything like flooded. It was crazy. But then that went away. Oh, you guys also have fire. We don't have a whole lot of fire.
Yeah, well, your natural disasters are the occasional hurricane and cold, huh?
Yeah, we had a hurricane once. That was bad. Yeah, and just disasters due to the people who are.
Oh, sure.
But New York is a great place to live and invest and buy and sell real estate. Like, what's amazing here as a broker anyway, and as a developer, is the volume. Like, to get this type of property discrepancy between like, hey, I want to do a 2-family in Brooklyn, compared to where I just came from half an hour ago, where I was showing like a $25 million townhouse in the Village. For you, is such a drive with so much traffic. It's so hard for the brokers in Los Angeles or anywhere else really to work on such a varied amount of properties and deal sizes. Whereas here, like, I can do 500 deals a year, and they're all of different sizes with all of different people, and I don't have to go that far.
Oh my
That's what makes New York so great.
Sure.
Right?
Wow.
Which is why it would be so hard for me to move and sell real estate anywhere else. But good luck. Yeah.
Remember to use coupon code SHORTREDFIN for 20% off the investing course. If you purchase the investing course and want the agent course as well, at the end of your checkout, you will get a bonus coupon offer for an additional $100 off the agent course, making the agent course just $175. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Instagram, and until next time.
That was you the minute I saw a yellow cab on this block. I was like, that's definitely someone coming from the city who jumped in a yellow cab and was like,
first thing.
yeah.